Hi there, Sean coming at you with 10 things to avoid while making games with Gamemaker. So here we go. Number 10, false loading screens. I've seen several novice games out there that I believe try to act professional by putting in false loading screens. Now, there's no way for me to prove that this is happening because I can't see the source code of the game, but if there aren't external assets to your game, you shouldn't need a loading screen. This sort of thing's unprofessional, unnecessary, and frankly unwelcome. If you're going to do a room transition, do a fade in or something. And on that note, avoid cheesy transitions like most of the ones that come with GameMaker. Seeing the screen for the next room fly in from the right isn't a novelty, it's a trick that looks unprofessional and goofy. Number 9. Avoid the default information screen. Many of us know the screen that GameMaker defaults to for game information. It's basically a standard MS Word file that you can write whatever you like in. Just don't use it. Just find any other way to display credits. I can promise you it's a turn off. Oh, and just as a heads up, it's accessible from the keyboard by default, so make sure you turn this off in the GameMaker Options tab. Number 8. Avoid using the default sound system. It's incredibly dated and it doesn't offer a whole lot of functionality. I think by default you can only play MP3s and waves, but correct me if I'm wrong. If you plan on selling your game, neither of these sound files will suit you well. MP3s actually have a licensing fee for using the format once the game reaches a certain number of downloads. I think it's a few thousand. And waves just sound like shit if they're used for anything more than simple sound effects. You're going to want to use the OGG format. It compresses well, sounds great, and is free to use indefinitely. To add this functionality, look into SuperSound and FMod DLLs. I'll link to them below. Number 7. Uncheck synchronization. As of GameMaker 8.0, it's slow and largely ineffective. To avoid these choppy lines across your screen, look into double buffering. You can write your own screen buffer system with very little effort. Popular GameMaker dev Chevy Ray actually wrote a system that does this for you. Again, I'll link to it below. Number 6, don't use the default message box. We all know what this is. It's that ugly gray box that pops up with a message and a few buttons to click on. Don't do it. It kills the aesthetics of your game and offers you almost no control over the way the message is displayed. I don't even think there's a reason to have anything like this in your game. All information should appear on the screen without being obtrusive or obnoxious. So remember, just say no. Number 5, avoid using default resources. All of them suck. If you want to have a pool of resources to easily pop into your prototypes, invest a little bit of time or money into either finding or buying a few nice sprite packs or sound bundles. If you're looking for something to whip up simple sound effects with, look into Sfxr. It's very easy to use, and this is coming from someone with very little sound software skills. I'll link to this below. Number 4, avoid using the default room speed of 30. You're going to want to tune that up to 60. Everything will just play nicer on the screen, and the input from the user will register much faster. If your game is experiencing lag and turns out to be a resource hog, which, let's be honest, is not hard to do with GameMaker, then you can drop it down to 30. I mean, it's not unheard of for games to run well at 30 frames per second, but you should always try to pull off as many FPS as possible without seeing drops. To easily view your active frames per second, just take a look at the bottom left of the debug window. Number 3, avoid using the standard GameMaker icon. Make your own. It's not that hard. There are plenty of editors online. The thing is, the GameMaker icon signifies that your game was made just the same as everybody else's with that icon, at least to the user. They don't think twice about it. They've seen one game with that icon, they think all games are like that. The game's made with GameMaker very, very strongly in quality, and you don't want to tie yourself too hard to the GameMaker image. Number 2, avoid winging it. Winging it is a great idea during game jams or the very early stages of learning GameMaker when you're just trying to feel the software out and learn how everything works. But once you know how to use the software, you need to learn how to plan games. Planning doesn't have to be a big process. If you have a game idea, type up one page. That's all, just one page with your ideas on it. Include the essentials like control scheme, basic game mechanics, story, target audience, and aesthetic feel. Yeah, naturally your game is going to evolve beyond this, but at least you'll have something to look back on to remind yourself what the goal of the project is in the first place. If you make them look spiffy enough, you may even consider framing them if the game turns out to be something you're proud of. Number 1, avoid GAD, or GameMaker Attention Deficit Disorder. GAD is a term I created to define what happens when the average person gets a hold of GameMaker. You realize that you can whip up quick games with seemingly short development times, which is all fine and dandy until you go overboard and get sick of working on a game. Then you jump to another project, and you soon get sick of that. It eventually becomes a vicious cycle. This disease will lead you to never finishing your games, which is one of the worst things to be stuck in when you're an up and coming bedroom or indie developer. It can be very detrimental to your game development career, as your goal as a new developer is to get your damn name out there. This prevents that. I'm actually a recovering victim of this sickness, and I know that it's hard to get out of. Just think about it this way: if you never finish any of your games, then no one will ever witness your talent. Everyone who works hard with Gamemaker can produce impressive results. You just need to learn to finish them. That's all I got. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments, and as always, I'll put the links in the description.